Professor Sriram, who is the Executive Director of the Great Lakes Institute of Management, is my guest here on We Connect. We're going to go back to that discussion that I'm having with him. You've been looking at successful women managers. Now, on that score, let me ask you, how many women students do you have?
Current batch
50-50?
We would love to have 50-50. Unfortunately, we are not there yet. Right now, the current batch might have close to about 27-28% women. One of the reasons I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That
you need to, because I'm going to ask you.
We didn't want to make this out as a kind of a quota.
Yes.
Which might necessarily mean that we might have to kind of lower the hurdles to have a larger proportion of women in. What we actually do is that everything being equal, we prefer a girl to a guy.
Really? That's interesting.
And that has been the way that in which we have been able to. And I would think that 27% would perhaps be one of the highest among business schools. Because most of the business schools traditionally used to have a single digit number.
Yes.
And maybe today they may be having 15, 18, this kind of percentages.
Right.
And I would think that if we are not the topmost women, coming in as students in this
You
institute.
recently actually had a seminar, I think it was, on successful women in business.
Right.
So, how successful do you believe women have been in the business world in our country?
I think if you look at the last 5, 7, 10 years, this trend is growing. Women are coming into fore more and more and more. Though the base itself is much smaller, that there is a lot of distance to cover, but if you look at the trend, it is very heartening. And from our own perspective, why we talk about successful women in management is from the point of view of those women who succeeded, they succeeded with both their hands tied behind the back.
That's normally the case, I think.
It is normally the case, because irrespective of the fact that you may be a CEO or a senior person in the organization you work for, at home you are expected to be the housewife, you are expected to be the mother, you are expected to be the daughter-in-law, you are expected to perform all those roles.
Yes.
These kind of issues men don't face. And when you succeed in spite of all this, there is also a glass ceiling.
Yes,
that beyond a certain point, people at the top tend to believe that being a woman, whether she will be able to cope with the kind of rigors of the job, and you tend to get discounted to some extent, and you are not given the kind of opportunities that you should naturally, rightfully get. This is one set of reasons why we do this. But the second and the most important reason why we do this is that we believe more women in leadership position will bring in more ethics. And one of the problems that organizations, particularly business organizations, face is this whole question of ethics and governance and issues of this kind. Because we believe that the tolerance limit for women to compromise is much smaller compared to men, for very many reasons, including biological reasons.
Yes,
And when the tolerance limit is less, it's good for the organization.
Indeed.
And you will not see a woman pulling out a 100-rupee note trying to bribe a traffic cop in the road.
Right.
Men might do it nonchalantly. So
woman might have to think very hard before she actually decides to do that, I think. I very much like your attitude, Professor Sriram. I think it's very, very refreshing.
These are some of the reasons why we believe that this must be encouraged. Apart from the fact that being a partner to men, they should get equal rights to every possibility and every opportunity, which has been denied traditionally in most of the societies.
Right. Well, I hope that there are lots of people who are actually listening to you today. Now, your institute got the Madras Management Association Award for excellence in what you do. Is this kind of an award important to an organization like yours?
I would certainly think so. If not for anything else, the fact that somebody out there recognizes that what you do gives you this confidence that yes, you are doing something right. You are doing something, you are on the right path. So these kind of reinforcements, I think, are important. And from that perspective,
everybody likes to be appreciated for what they do.
I would think so. At the end of the day,
I would imagine so too, as well. But now, when you have students in your institute, I want to ask you, is it actually possible to teach a young person attitude, ethics, some of the important things that you're talking about? Can you actually teach this in a classroom?
If you want a frank answer, no. What you can at best do is that expose them to the need and importance of developing certain attitudes and certain traits. Like, for example, I keep talking about to my students that apart from all that knowledge that you gain, there are traits that you need to really succeed. A simple thing like, can you work without supervision?
Exactly.
Now this is something I can tell you, I can explain to you how it is important. Whether I can make you do that? No. Hope that having exposed and the fact that you are intelligent enough, you will by the way pick that up. Or things like, can you influence without power? Are you capable of working hard? Can you dirty your hands?
Right.
Are you going to sit in your cabin and say that the peon is not there, so Xerox cannot be done? Or are you going to run around get the Xerox done
Exactly.
if something has to be done by a certain deadline?
Right.
Can you work as part of the team? Now there are many traits that you need to develop to succeed. Now at best what we can do, as I mentioned, is that we can highlight this, we can give you opportunity to learn about yourself in this context. What we do in our case is that all students are part of some committee or other.
Yes.
And these committees are very, very important.
Really?
And as a matter of fact, ours is a student run institution.
Really? That's
Right
interesting.
from admissions, placements, branding, PR, every aspect of the institution are,
Students are
managed
involved.
by student committees. And they got a lot of say in terms of how these things are being done. To give you a simple example, our entire admission process is managed by student committee. The final merit list is taken out by them. So they get involved in the process of admissions. Some of them sit through the interview process when we recruit people for the next batch. Very often we turn back and ask them, does this person sound like a great leaguer? After having done our own judgment.
Right.
Because you get this intuitive feeling where the other person comes out as a person of your own.
Right.
So in very many senses we involve students, it brings in a sense of ownership. It also gives them an opportunity to learn whether they have those traits. Can I work in a team? Because it's a peer team. You don't have the authority to actually give decisions and directions.
Right.
You need to influence them by other means. And then each one learns in this process of committee work what kind of traits that they have, what kind of traits that they don't, and then hopefully they will work on it.
That's quite interesting as well. What is your involvement with industry currently?
We are very actively engaged with the industry, not only because of the fact that every year I will have to place 300 people
Yes, that's true.
in companies out there.
Yeah.
So by design, I need to be very closely engaged with what's happening in the industry.
Very well disposed to them as well.
Exactly, and hope that they are very well disposed to
you
and the institution.
Yes.
Apart from that, we engage with them in terms of corporate training, consultancy, things of this kind. We also have extensive amount of guest lectures that we do, where we bring in top people from industry to come and share their perspectives. Because at the end of the day, significant proportion of people who come and study here want to be practitioners, not scholars.
Absolutely. So the best thing that they can do is actually listen to people
Listen
who
to
are out in the
practitioners.
field.
And then get to know from horse's mouth
Right.
how things get managed in real life.
Right.
In textbooks and classrooms, we can only talk in terms of black and white, but the real life is shades of grey. Now, how do you bring in the shades of grey? Only by getting in people from industry to come in and share.
Right.
So,
Well, Professor Sriram, I think you guys are probably doing a very great job here, and we wish that you would continue doing this, because if we are to take our place in the global business world, it's people who come out of places like this who are going to actually keep the flag flying, not just for the Great Lakes Institute,
Yes, indeed.
but really for everybody and for our country at the end of it.
Sure.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you. It's a
sir.
pleasure.
I really appreciate you having us here. That's all we have time for here in WeConnect. We're really glad that you could join us. And don't forget that on this program, you're going to meet people who are interesting, people who always, but always have a story to tell us, and from whom we can learn ever so much. And so don't forget to watch us Friday night at 9:30. And until the next time, you take care. Bye for now.